Happiness is freedom. Freedom is having the choice to spend your time doing things that inspire you. Most people want freedom, but many people don't have a clear objective, a roadmap, or a strategy to achieve it. Everyone deserves to live an inspired and free life. I believe that when we're free and able to focus on our most meaningful work, we simply become better human beings. We can give more, care more, support more, and love more. I'm an investor, a trader, and an entrepreneur, and I get to spend every day doing what I love. At the age of 29 years old, I became financially free, and since then my mission has been to help and inspire other people to achieve the same so that they can be more of who they really want to be. Always Free is about having a free mind, being free to question the status quo, free to take risks, free to say no, free to say yes, free from social idealisms, opinions and beliefs, free to disobey, and free to wake up every day and spend your time to make a difference that inspires you. You can have it all. Living a life designed by you isn't a stroke of luck or a result of circumstance. It's a choice. So if you want to learn how to become free and live an inspired life, join me for the #1 show for financial empowerment and wealth creation as I share my insights, tips, strategies and advice on what allowed me to be always free. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Jason Graystone. Well, welcome back to the show, guys. I hope you're doing well. This is the Always Free Show, the #1 show for financial empowerment and wealth creation. If it's the first time you're listening, make sure you check out all the other episodes of this show and the podcast. Start at episode 1 and then come to me at episode 6 and send me a DM if you're still listening. Really appreciate your thoughts and hopefully it helps. You guys have been loving these shows lately where I've had guests, special guests on, and this is no short of that. We've got Rory Hodges, who's an incredible guy who we'll learn much more about in a moment. But we're going to be discussing everything kind of fitness industry, well-being, health, what's going on in the world right now, what some of your concerns might be and how that's related to it. And if there's any fitness instructors or fitness people looking to launch fitness businesses and things like that online, what might be going through your head, we're just going to dive into that a little bit as well. So first of all, welcome Rory, thanks for coming on, mate.
Thank you, yeah, no, super pleased to be here.
Good stuff. Tell all the listeners kind of a bit about you.
Yeah, so my name's Rory. I'm in the health and fitness industry, as Jason's just pointed out. I've been in there probably 10 years or so, since undergoing my own kind of fitness journey myself. When I was younger, probably going through adolescence, I guess, like a lot of adolescents do, a lot of stress and anxiety and confidence issues, self-esteem issues. I basically hated the way I looked. I hated the way I felt, but that was having knock-on effects on other areas, like say my confidence, for example. I wouldn't go out and meet people. And that time of life, you're looking for new friendships, relationships, that sort of thing. I felt that was lacking in my life. And then also the education, I just wasn't getting the education I wanted because I felt rubbish. Yeah. I couldn't put that, I didn't have any energy and focus put towards the education. I just felt, stressed all the time. So I found solace in fitness and health. And I thought, right, you know what? I don't like the way I look, so let's change that. So that's when I started undergoing my own fitness journey, kind of following people online, YouTube, and just articles, magazines, that sort of thing. But figuring things out as I went, and then transforming the way that I looked. And with it, confidence, energy, focus, self-esteem, self-love, I guess, all increased as well. And then I moved down to the West Country, so I live in the Southwest UK, and that was an opportunity for me to dive into a new career. And I thought, you know what? Health and fitness has been a massive value to me, so that's something I want to help other people with, and so birthed what I do now.
Amazing. So you mentioned that you was not happy with your looks. I was pretty much the same as well. Usually what you find when you're not confident, like you say, it's like a downward spiral because it's like catch-22. You can't get to where you want to go because you've got no motivation and you don't want to better yourself. And it can be quite a dark place. But on the flip side of that, usually what happens is you become obsessed with the other side, and you get like this unhealthy kind of obsession of going down. Yeah. And I've seen that happen to many people. It happened to me. I've seen it happen to many celebrities, and So how did that pan out for you? Like, did you hit a peak of this is too much?
Oh yeah, I mean, first of all, what you were saying at the start about negativity, yeah, absolutely. I call it the spiral of negativity. The negative spiral. You get stuck doing, bad thing leads to another bad thing leads to another bad thing. Let's say, for example, talking fitness, if you eat something bad and then you get demotivated and you lose your willpower. Oh no, I've eaten that. Fall into what I call the sod effect. And then you have another one and another one. Before you know it, you've completely derailed. All it generally takes to try and get out of that negative spiral, I find, is just a bit of gratification and a bit of positivity. So find one or two things that actually you think, no, you know what, things are going okay. Yes, I've eaten that, or I've missed that, or I'm not quite up to level on that, but I've got this, and this. And I guess the same thing goes for when you get to the other level as well, because at my peak, if you would like, for kind of, for fitness, I was, very low body fat percentage. I was hitting the gym all the time, but I didn't have, to be honest, much of a social life or anything else as well. Right. Like I said, I'd only just moved down to a different location, away from all my friends, away from most of my family. So what else did I have to do other than work on myself? And don't get me wrong, I was in great shape, but at the sacrifice of what? I'd turn down drinks, I'd turn down food. It's like, no, actually, it's more important for me to look like this than it is to enjoy myself. And I think that was a realization. And what I've got now, which is a good balance, and how I've pivoted a lot of my work and what I do with my clients, is I try and teach them to actually, there's a balance.
Right.
And you've got to get yourself into a place where you feel good, but where you can still live. So if you're sacrificing areas like your family or your friendships or your social life, things like that, then you've got to obviously take a look and think, hang on, is there a happy medium here? And for me, there certainly is. I am consistent with my training. I eat well. I'm in good shape, but I still make time to, especially now I've got a kid, we've got a second one on the way. It's a massive value for me to spend time with them and my family and my friends. And if that means going out and eating some food, happy days. I'll do it guilt-free, because I know that come Monday morning, I'm back in the gym and back doing what I love, which is training and eating well.
Absolutely.
So it's just getting the balance right.
Great. So what I've found is people get this kind of unhealthy cycle going on, where it's like extreme training, like you say, missing out on different things. They don't really, they're kind of blind to what they're sacrificing, and then they hit another wall, or they have something wrong with them, or something detrimental will happen, and then they'll go the opposite way, and then they'll go so far the other way that they go, right, I know I've done it before and I'll do it again. And it's kind of this like oscillation between two extremes, rather than maintaining a healthy balance. And maintaining the balance is key. Yeah.
I guess a lot of things as well. You've got unfortunately things like social media to blame. Things like how you should look and how you should how you should behave, how you should this sort of thing, which doesn't help either, of course, because then you get it into your head that you got to be a certain way, and then if you eventually get there, you realise how miserable it is in reality, and then you plummet and go the other way because you think, oh hell, I can't maintain this, and then you just go the other way. So it is one of the major flaws in our industry. And for people, other coaches, sometimes coaches, a lot of dietary companies, they are pushing people to be the best of the best, but it's not actually helping them really.
Oh, they use polarizing tactics to actually sell their thing, right? It's like no different to.
And it works, right? Because they got successful businesses, making millions every single year. But I guess the job for me and the select other coaches who are like me is to try and draw people one by one away from that way of thinking and more towards the whole holistic lifestyle and mindset element as well.
Okay, so that's great. But let's talk about, like you say, that there's oscillations there in fitness and health, but people who are starting businesses, like they're also in this world today where they're comparing, everything has to be instantly done. Everything's like, I've got to be that or I'm nothing. I've got to be that good or I'm nowhere. And you literally ran a gym and COVID hit. How did you manage that? Because that's a challenge for you, right?
Absolutely. And we had a little studio before, and it was fantastic. But time came to scale up, so we got a bigger facility. And we're talking, we opened the doors. I think we did an opening day November 19, right? So when were we shut down? March 20. Yeah. So we're not even half a year, and then it was like, right, the brand new gym that we've just opened and chucked financial commitments into and things like that is now got to close, right? And we're like, oh great, but we kind of knew it was coming. There was other countries and that were locking down first. We can kind of get a bit of contingency plan together. And I guess part of, because we were urgent, we had that urgency. We pulled our fingers out to actually do something about it. Yeah. So as soon as day one of lockdown hit, we had a plan in motion. And our members, for example, that would ordinarily come to the gym to do classes and sessions were taken online.
Right.
We were doing classes online, sort of Zoom classes, etc., things like that, and it just kept people going. We did a lot of online support, utilizing social media like Facebook groups and WhatsApp and things like that, and we were just basically, keeping on top of our clients and members at all times. So, and we even rented out the equipment in the gym, just for a deposit, just to basically keep people sweet, just to keep them paying their memberships. Because then when COVID restrictions lifted, guess what? 80% of our members were still there. Whereas local gyms and other trainers just took the government money and ran with it.
Yeah.
As soon as that ran out, what do? They got no clients left. They got no business left.
No.
Whereas that's how we managed to survive. We just adapted, we pivoted, and we just prioritized the member, prioritized the client, still got them progress. And some of my clients saw their very best progress during COVID because they couldn't go out and eat and drink, right?
Yeah.
So actually they saw amazing results, and actually their challenge has been being able to maintain it now they can go out.
Right. Yeah,
but we just adjusted, and people respected us for it.
Awesome. So what are some of the, you went in, what made you go into, what made you go into your specific niche, like with that balance? Like, how did you identify that was the problem? If you was oscillating yourself, and then you started a business, like how did you pinpoint that was the...
Honestly, I think it comes from working with people. So, my business, what it is now, I would say, if someone was to tell me when did you start, I would say about 6 or 7 years ago. But realistically, I started in the industry about 10 years ago. So, those first few years was very much figuring things out.
Yeah.
And when you first come into the industry as like just your bog standard personal trainer, and you start working with whoever comes up to you at the gym, they got all sorts of different sort of struggles and issues. But to be honest with you, you don't learn until you start working with people.
Yeah.
All the qualifications just give you a ticket. That's all they do. You actually learn when you start working with people.
Yeah.
So I guess it was in those first few years that I started understanding what people were really struggling with. Because I'd get some clients who were seeing results and then losing them again. Some people who were seeing results and maintaining, and some people who were never seeing results.
Yeah.
So from working with people, you can kind of figure out what are they doing right, what are they doing wrong, and then you can gauge your market from there. When I went into what I do now, which is body transformations, so I specialize in body transformation, should I say, that's my core programs. It's really come from a combination of what people want, because they want a result fairly fast, but they also want it to be sustainable, which means you've got to be holistic and you've got to apply lifestyle and mindset techniques to it as well. Because if you just say, right, all I want you to do is eat salads every day, then sure, you'll lose weight, but are you going to maintain it? Probably not.
Yeah.
But also a combination of my own journey as well, and what I found worked for me, and assuming that will work for others as well, which is not always the case, but again, it just takes adaptation. So doing what I do now has really come from working with people in combination with my own story as well.
Yeah, cool. So coaching, you're obviously a great coach. There's a lot of coaching is a massive growing industry. I think it's the second largest industry in the world at the moment.
Absolutely.
Which is mad when you think about it. But there's a lot of people who are looking at what's going on right now and thinking, coaching, that's potentially something I could do because I can do it remotely. I can do. There's ways of me to get my message out to a wider demographic without me having to actually physically be in a gym, and it's attractive for people who have had a gym or fitness instructors who have exchanged £45 an hour for every hour of the day and they're burnt out to consider something like that. You've been around the block and you've seen through COVID and you've kind of adapted and pivoted and everything. For anyone listening who's considering taking the path that you took, what are some kind of vitals that if you could start now, like that you would say, maybe focus more on that or focus more on this?
Yeah, absolutely. So, a big reason why a lot of people get into the industry, and one of the reasons, and this is where it links into what you do as well, of course, is, you're looking at other traders and they're like charging £50 an hour. You're like, oh, fantastic. The best other job I had since then was like £9 an hour, right? So, there's a no-brainer, let's do that. But the health and fitness, the fitness industry in particular has one of the biggest dropout rates. I'm not sure on exact statistics, don't quote me on it, but, it's something like 80% of personal trainers will drop out after the first year of trying because they assume they can make that sort of money. But actually, they end up going into a box gym, working for a big chain gym. The chain gym are charging that money, but they're only giving them a tiny percentage of that and expect them to work a lot. It gets very demotivating very quickly. So what I did differently, I guess, is I very quickly just pursued my own purpose and passion. And I quickly, because I knew what helped me, and so I knew what would help other people who are in the same situation as me. So I very quickly kind of moved away from the whole charge per hour type product and went straight towards more, let's offer a program which lasts X number of weeks and will deliver X result if you follow this process. And that was much more satisfying for me to deliver, because I knew I had a client who was committed on from day one to day end, rather than, are they going to pay this month? Or are they going to pay for this session? Or are they even going to turn up? And I know people in the industry now who are losing money because their clients aren't turning up for a session, and they haven't got any sort of cancellation policy. So it's follow the purpose and the passion, look at why you got into the industry, and see if you can help other people do exactly what you did, and then package things up smartly so you actually get satisfaction out of the job as well. So when you sign a client on, you're going to change their life, not I hope I'm going to change their life.
Absolutely. Well, it's a very similar conversation that we just had with Jeremy, who was on the last episode. And it's all about being clear about what it is you're trying to do, and who you want to work with, and what result you're trying to get to them. And it kind of is this common theme of success, people who are successfully out there in business, rather than those that are moaning about the going rate and trying to beat competitors. And you mentioned two things there that were kind of financial. One is they're like a slave to the big chain of gym where they're just working 10 hours a day. They just want some food and go and have a lunch break or whatever, but they can't because they've got next. And then they're like, by the time they get paid, it's like, do you know what? I just want to spend this on something that's going to cheer me up, right? So they just blow everything they've earned.
Especially when you also consider the working hours, right? A personal trainer will get up at 5 a.m., start at 6, and then get home again at 8 or 9 o'clock at night. Right.
So all they want to do is just like some reward. It's like, I just want to buy something that's going to make me forget about this, or just like treat myself. And then on top of that, you have got this kind of limited, you are limited to what you can earn, because you're in this kind of cycle or trap that's like, I can't get out to even earn anymore. There's no leverage there. So you obviously joined my Tears of Freedom program. Some of the things that you're saying now is like, you're thinking bigger, you're thinking purpose, you're thinking my ideal client, you're thinking getting a result and value add and kind of creativity, that creativity mindset that just allowed you to rent out dumbbells to your clients. People who are in it and in like their head in the sand, they can't think like that. Right? So what are some of the things financially that maybe you've got from the Tears of Freedom program? Would you say that contributed to how you was able
absolutely.
To
one of the biggest things that drew me into the Tears of Freedom program was the business element side of things as well. Because obviously, yes, personal finances are important, and they are for me specifically for longevity and freedom. But coming into Tears of Freedom, my sole and only income was my business, right? So whereas a lot of other people going through the program will have a job and then they'll end up creating a business on the side perhaps, and then, I guess long-term go into that full-time, that would be the goal. For me, that I was already doing that. I was working for myself from the start. So me and only me was in control of my income, right? If I didn't turn up to work, I wouldn't get paid type thing, So I guess I knew that joining the Tears of Freedom would help me on that element, that side of things as well. And I've done business courses and had other met various mentors and things specifically for business in and out of the fitness industry. But the Tears of Freedom just somehow seemed a bit more kind of like a complete package. Tackling the personal finances and the business finances and how they come together. So that's obviously one major thing that I got out of it. And the other thing as well that I've been applying, especially more recently, I'd say, since COVID really, and therefore more kind of emphasis on the online work naturally from being in lockdown, is actually kind of productizing and correctly selling the products that I create, whereas before it was just like, say, kind of personal training and gym memberships. We've now got an array of online products as well, so people can find us on the website or through adverts, and they can sign up one click and be straight and doing a program with us, without actually seeing us in person. It's opened up the opportunities massively to work with more people who might not have been able to reach us before, but especially because of online. But again, that's down to the sort of the products that we've created, and Tears of Freedom has been a big part of helping me create create those.
Amazing. And it diversifies and safety nets your income as well, right? So
Absolutely.
it's more
So,
diverse.
for example, I've got obviously the body transformation programs are the core programs, but a bit more high ticket. They're working quite personally with a coach, and you expect the best results from that, and absolutely. But then we've also got kind of more lower tier sort of one-off products like short challenges, month-long challenges. I know like Tears of Freedom do very similar, or you do very similar things in your business. So short challenges that current clients or complete new people can do. And then we've got sort of memberships as well, which kind of start from here, work all the way up depending on the level of service they need. And it's just given it's given us the opportunity to work with a variety of people and help them no matter what their situation is. And I think that's been really powerful. Because although their pains are the same and their end goals are still the same, they might have a different situation. Some people can't commit to coming to the gym several times a week. No. So fine, we've got something for you as well. Still gets the same result. Might be a bit different process, but it's for you.
Yeah,
it still works.
Absolutely. And this isn't a tough promo, but what really the point I was trying to get to there is the fact of one of the first shows that I did on this is where I was talking about your cash buffer and having a cushion of cash to allow you to think creatively, to allow you to not be competitive. The last thing you want to be is competitive. You don't need to be competitive. What you need to do is create something that no one can compare the price to someone else. Yeah. And you do that via creating creative products and packages and services that no one can compare to anyone else, and they're unique.
My mindset is there is no competitors.
No,
right?
exactly.
And that's very much the mindset I adopt. If someone says to me, "Oh, are you worried about that?" No, I'm not worried. Honestly, doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I don't even know.
It doesn't
I don't even
bother
know
me.
if I have.
No, exactly. I do a completely different thing to them.
Yeah.
In my head, that's all I think about. All I'm focused on is what I do and how I help people.
Yeah.
And the cash buffer is very true as well, because since working with you guys, I've not only got a personal cash buffer but a business cash buffer as well.
Yeah.
Both are maxed.
Yeah.
At the moment with 6 months worth of expenses
Amazing.
in there.
Incredible.
So which means everything else is can go towards more meaningful things.
Yeah, incredible. So I think that's an important point, because a lot of people, if they're thinking about becoming fitness trainers, fitness instructors, coaches, or business owners, one of the first things is simple as just not being competitive, right? And not having this. I see a lot of chips on shoulders with, why are they paying that person that much when they can, when all they've got is this TikTok, or, and you think, well, instead of just moaning about that, think about how you can actually solve a real problem. And I think if you have some cash behind you, not necessarily lots and lots of money, but just enough there to ease the animal brain, you will stop moaning at other people, and you will instead start thinking about the client first, and how I can help them.
Yeah.
And I think that's massively important.
I agree.
If anyone was considering becoming a fitness coach or starting, actually let's spin it on its head. If anyone's starting to think, do you know what, this has resonated with me and I want to get fit myself, and maybe in the future I want to help others do the same, because a lot of the time, you get inspired into changing something about yourself, and then that inspiration causes you to do more in that field, like you did, right?
And I've got clients who've done the same.
Exactly that, right?
I've had 2 who have worked with me who have become trainers themselves.
Right.
One of which is working for me.
Incredible, right? Yeah. So anyone who's just at the start of the journey and they think, look, I need to be the person first before I even think about doing the work and getting the results that I want. I need to be the example. What is the first step they can take if they're unhappy with themselves right now?
So it's work on yourself, right? You've got to, my strong belief is that your body is arguably the only thing that you have total control over. Yeah. So other things will come and go. You'll move house. Your kids, you'll birth your kids, and then they'll leave home one day. You might even go through breakups and new relationships, new cars, new everything. But your body is your one thing that you and only you own and control. Yeah. And I guess I believe strongly that you should make the most of that and work on creating that into what you want it to be. Because not only does kind of looking better and feeling better kind of boost your confidence and self-esteem, which can then lead out to other areas, but also your energy and your focus as well. Yeah. So I'm a big believer, and I've had loads of clients in the past who work for themselves, are business owners, self-employed, and their finances are massively down to them. But actually, by working on themselves and prioritizing their bodies, they've ended up making more money because they've got more focus for work. They can do more with less time, if you like. And they feel more confident. So whether that's in a sales situation, whether that's just going out and networking, or in their personal life, maybe going out and meeting new people, I find there's massive power in prioritizing your own body.
Yeah.
And everyone's ideal way of looking is different. And I am not the person to judge on what you should look like. I honestly don't care. I don't even, I try not to weigh my clients too much because it doesn't matter what they weigh. No. I'm more bothered by what do you see when you look in the mirror? Are you happy with that? How do you feel in your own skin? And what can we do to improve that? And I think people should try and put some more time and energy into prioritizing their own bodies. And they'll realize it doesn't actually take that long either.
No.
We're not talking, right, you need to go to the gym every single day. You're not talking, you need to get up at 5 o'clock to go for a run every day before work. It's just small tweaks here and there.
Yeah.
Try and drink a bit more water here. Try and walk to work instead of drive if that's an option, or walk the kids to school instead of drive. Try and cook from scratch a bit more times, and it's just making those small tweaks. If you make like one change every single week, that's 52 changes a year. That's gonna make a big difference, right?
Yeah.
And that's the same with every aspect of life, I know, but I'm just such a strong believer that you need to prioritize and work on your own body and get yourself to the point where you feel good about yourself, because then that will allow you to essentially live better, because you've got more confidence, more self-esteem, more energy. You can go out and live with more fulfillment and create more amazing memories. And that's what life's all about, right?
It really is. And I 100% agree, which is why, big reason I wanted Rory on is because there's like a throwaway saying health is wealth, right? But it really is.
Yeah.
And I believe that how you look and feel in the mirror is directly correlated to your standards in everything in life. So if you've got low standards of yourself, you'll have low standards on your money, your business, your relationships with other people, what you accept, how you get pushed around in life. Whereas if you are happy with what you see and you've got a higher standard of what you're willing to accept of yourself, then that will flow through and filter through on all other areas of life. And I believe that if you're happy in yourself, everything else works itself out.
We're on the same wavelength there for sure.
Totally. Amazing. Cool. So look, mate, valuable conversation. But before we wrap up, let everyone know where they can find you if they want.
Yeah, absolutely. So big social media presence. Rory Hodges Coaching will find me for you pretty much across all social media platforms. Instagram, Facebook. I've got a free Facebook group as well. It's called the Body Transformation Support Group. That's a fantastic place to be in as well, because I'm in there offering plenty of advice, doing live training videos, Q&As. Recipe ideas, all sorts of stuff in there, and that coincides along with a weekly newsletter as well.
Awesome.
Find us on social media and you'll find the links for all that sort of stuff.
Excellent. We'll put all the links below this show as well. And I just want to say massive thanks for coming on again, Rory.
Thanks for the invite. It's been great.
Until next week, guys, have a great rest of your day and weekend, and I'll see you then.